my name's Paul Wilson. I'm from Knight Frank Promise. So who is Knight Frank Promise? We were established in 1996. We are Property Management Integrated, well, it stands for, Property Management Integrated Services and Employment Limited, and it implements property and facilities management services across a national portfolio of residential and commercial property. Promise Limited provides a complete facilities management service to properties that Knight Frank themselves manage on behalf of clients. The property portfolio consists of approximately 700 properties across the UK, and the managed property portfolio spans multiple sectors, but in particular we look after residential and commercial offices. So the draft building safety bill, what's the impact it's going to have on managing agents? Every high-rise building in the country will be required to appoint a building safety manager once the building safety bill and fire safety bill becomes law. As we've discussed throughout this seminar webinar this morning, building safety managers are going to be key to this implementation. One thing I think should be noted at the start is that the duty holder must nominate a named building safety manager with the relevant skills, knowledge and expertise to be responsible for the day-to-day management of the building and act as a point of contact for the residents. The building safety manager's name and contact information must be notified to the building safety regulator and to residents and should be displayed in the building. So their general duties are going to be looking at to cooperate with the building safety regulator, the BSM organisation if applicable, and the accountable person who is the ultimate building owner. They are going to be responsible for the day-to-day management of the building. They're going to act as the point of contact for building occupiers and residents. They're going to comply with role-specific regulatory requirements, and that includes operating within the building registration regime confirmed by legislation. They will also promote building safety and the safety of the people in and about the building within their remit. There's also further duties of their day-to-day management of the building, and that includes oversight of all post-initial development, construction, maintenance, repair or servicing of the work undertaken. There's going to be an oversight and coordination with the duty holders and contractors on site, and that includes planned maintenance contractors, repair contractors, the mechanical and electrical contractors, but ultimately the principal contractor still retains responsibility for their works. They will have to intervene with contractors if not complying with safe practices on site, and that's paying particular attention to the requirements of the building fire strategy, the fire safety management, and upholding the integrity of the fire compartmentation. There's also an escalation of any contractual issues relating to the building safety management, building safety including liaison with relevant supervisors and managers to ensure remedial action is undertaken. There's also monitoring of compliance of the servicing programme within the buildings under their control, especially in relation to fire safety assets or services, and that includes fire risk assessments, maintenance of dry risers, AOVs, smoke detection systems, but also to include other life safety and public health systems such as water hygiene and any equipment subject to thorough examination or other safety testing regimes such as gas safety or PAT testing. Finally, any person undertaking this role will be required to demonstrate evidence of being a registered BSM which is relevant to the building or the category or rating. So as you can see, it's a hugely important role with a vast expanse of responsibility. So what is the training for site staff and what is available? Knight Frank Promise has already made inquiries and looked into this for our own site staff, and I myself and the operations director for Promise, Knight Frank Promise, are looking into this ongoing now. The options that we've seen so far, and obviously these aren't conclusive, but the ones that we are particularly interested in, the Fire Protection Association have a course on the market already that has been mapped to the fire safety competency criteria for the BSM role. The learning outcomes of this is that there'll be an understanding of fire hazards in the workplace and their associated risks, that there'll be a knowledge of fire safety related equipment and facilities which assist in mitigating these risks. And that's from protected means of escape to fire alarm and detection systems, and also sprinkler systems. It will give them the knowledge of the current standards and codes of practice which relate to these facilities and the detailed maintenance regimes which apply. It will also improve their understanding of the fire risk assessment process as well. We feel this will benefit the maintenance staff on site, facilities management, managers on site, the estate managers, the concierge teams, but ultimately as well, as we've discussed, the building safety manager. Armour do some really excellent training sessions with very good information shared after or during the process, and obviously afterwards as well. There's a 6-hour course of fire safety management which is spread over 3 days, and as I said, we've received excellent feedback on that. There's also some really good guidance and advice notes specific to fire safety in flats, building safety, contained within their website as well. The IWFM has a hub on their website. Again, some excellent guidance on there and information there. We feel as well at Knight Frank Promise that there needs to be an upskilling of existing staff. All our staff who join us are put on an IOSH course straight away and given a 6-month window to complete that. We are currently in the process of getting as many of our building managers NEBOSH qualified as well. And a number of our staff are also on the IWFM route as well, up to level 5 and level 6. I do think it is important to note, though, at this point, that we feel there will be also a requirement to recruit going forward. We feel that also that this job, building safety management, it might not also be for everyone. There might also be a case of that people might want to take a different career path. For us ourselves, we will give them every opportunity to become that building safety manager and to get the requisite training and knowledge in order to complete to become that person in charge. So as it's been alluded to as well, there is a big impetus and push for resident engagement. There's been discussions and obviously dialogue that many residents report being frustrated by the intermittent and partial nature of information available on safety, and that there should be a greater transparency of information on building safety. Currently, residents do not feel adequately consulted on changes to their buildings, and that could impact on safety. They also want to be involved in the decision-making and consultation process, and this has been highlighted as key areas where a change is required. Most importantly, the needs of all residents, including those who are vulnerable, are to be considered, and it should provide them with the reassurance they need that their homes are safe. There will be a new complaints handling system requirements that will be introduced to make sure effective action is taken when concerns are raised as well. There's looking to be a new residents panel to be formed, and that will ensure residents have a voice in the changes that are being made to building safety and fire guidance, and will include residents of high-rise blocks and representative tenants groups. Obviously, informed residents can play a key role in monitoring the performance of safety systems and holding building owners to account for weaknesses in performance. I think there is a particular strength in structured engagement via residents' associations and tenant panels, and these groups can play a vital role by collaborating with landlords, managing agents and building owners to assemble the views of residents and raise common concerns. I think it's also important to note, though, that residents themselves have a role to play in identifying and reporting issues that may impact on the safety of the building. In addition to this, they have a responsibility towards their neighbours to ensure their actions do not compromise the safety of the building. Duties on residents from the Building Safety Bill will introduce a new statutory duty requiring residents to cooperate with the Building Safety Manager in the fulfilment of their functions. This general duty to cooperate will be supported by a set of specific duties, which will mean that residents have legal responsibilities to avoid actions that could pose a risk to the fire and structural safety of the building. This will include actions such as making structural alterations to their flats, such as removing supporting walls that undermine the structural integrity or compartmentation of the building, or failing to put right dangerous alterations they are liable for. We'll also include removing and replacing compliant fire doors or windows. It will also include damaging or removing fire safety features in the common parts of buildings, such as fire extinguishers, sprinklers, or alarm systems. And finally, it will also include actions such as hindering or frustrating the building safety manager in their performance of their duty to maintain the fire and structural integrity of the building and in keeping the residents safe. So the recommendations. Residents should have the right to access fire risk assessments, safety case documentation, and information on maintenance and asset management that relates to the safety of their homes. Resident involvement and engagement should be at the heart of the new system. There should be a resident engagement strategy in place to support the principles of transparency, of information, and partnership with the residents. So this resident engagement strategy, the building safety manager will be required to produce and implement a resident engagement strategy. This will set out how they will inform and engage residents and involve them in their decision making. The strategy should outline how the duty holder will share information with the residents, how they will inform them of their rights and responsibilities, and how they will involve residents in decision making on changes to the building that could impact on safety. And finally, innovate and build relationships with residents. There will always be everyday interaction between concierge and on-site teams, but I feel that by introducing coffee mornings or regular residents meetings, appointing a health and safety committee or a fire specific committee itself, by improving customer service to give confidence to the teams that they can have good dialogue with the residents, and also embracing the use of technology by using cloud-based property management systems such as Dwellent or Locale, which will improve the dialogue between the site and residents.